On the economic front, Korea's current account surplus, balance that is, was back in the black in March, but back on quarterly basis, the first 3 months of this year saw Korea suffering its first deficit in over a decade. Our Soo-jin has more.
South Korea's current account for March was in the black for the first time since December. Preliminary data released by the Bank of Korea on Wednesday shows that the country's current account logged a surplus of $270 million in March. The surplus was largely driven by the shrinking deficit in its goods and services balance, as well as an increase in dividends income. The deficit in the goods balance narrowed to $1.1 billion in March from $1.2 billion the previous month, and the deficit in the service balance shrank to $1.9 billion from $2 billion over the same period. The primary income account, which includes overseas dividend payments, was in the black as the dividends income balance saw a surplus of $3.1 billion, largely due to tax benefits given to Korean corporations abroad. The Bank of Korea expects dividend income to remain high.
Dividend income from overseas subsidiaries is expected to be higher than usual for this year due to Korea's corporate tax reform.
The deficits in the goods and services balances, however, are still a concern, with the goods balance staying in the red now for 6 straight months, and the deficit in the services account, which includes tourism, expected to continue as group tours of Chinese travelers are slow to recover. Despite the current account being in surplus in March, it recorded a deficit of $4.4 billion during the January to March period, the first time since the first quarter of 2012 that the nation saw a current account deficit on a quarterly basis. This comes as the nation's exports in March recorded an on-year decline for the 7th straight month. They were down nearly 13% compared to the previous year, largely due to sluggish global chip demand. Chips exports dropped 33%, hitting the country hard as semiconductors are its key export item. Meanwhile, exports to China also fell more than 33% and Southeast Asia more than 23%. Soo-jin, Arirang News.